So with the spring season officially over in the Canadian Premier League, our next question here on the docket is who's going to win the fall season. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you my rankings and my entire 2019 Canadian Premier League fall preview, season preview, all right here, right now. Now, before we get started here, I want to congratulate, a big congratulations from A.F.C. Curtis to the Cavs FC, Cavalry FC. Congratulations, guys. You won the first ever Canadian Premier League spring season with an incredible record. You guys, honest to God, I thought were like unbeatable. I mean, for a second, I really thought you were going to go 10-0. You came close, so big congratulations. I mean, to get as far as you could to win that title was fantastic. You guys are serious contenders for both the fall season and the overall championship. And to celebrate your spring title win here, I'm going to wear for this entire video my Cavs FC scarf right here. So I'm going to soak up. I look good in red, I know, that's why I'm wearing this, but I'm gonna wear this proud just for this video for you guys. So congratulations on winning the spring season title in the Canadian Premier League. Now let's get started. Now we're done with the spring, let's move on to the fall. This coming Saturday is the fall season, so let's kick things off with our first team here, the rank number 7. So the team I think will finish 7th in the Canadian Premier League fall season and finish last place will unfortunately be Pacific FC. And the reason why is because I think injuries will play a big toll on them, just like it did in the spring season. It definitely will through that much longer, it's almost twice as long fall season. It's going to be 18 matches. They're going to have a rough start to the fall season already, losing Starro. They haven't had really all season. He probably won't even be back until mid to late July, the earliest. On top of that, Marcel Dion isn't even training full-time with the club yet, with the players, and it's already early July, so maybe he might come back by like September, October, hopefully. Other than that, you know, Marcus Haber's dealt with some knocks this year. The midfield has actually looked really good this year. Really good young midfielders out there. Campbell's looked really good. Verhoeven's looked really good. But I think defensively and in the nets, they've kind of, toward the end of the spring season here, started to struggle a little bit. They've let in, I believe, their first or second most amount of goals into a match there. They've let in that many. So it shows that, unfortunately, goalkeeping, defending has kind of been rough in the spring season. And I think because of injuries to that back end, it's going to struggle in that second half. And that's why I think Pacific FC will finish 7th. Now the next team I think will finish in 6th place, and I think this team will be York 9 FC. Unfortunately, they did have a tough time. I think a lot of teams so far in that spring season in the CPL kind of had a rough go of things in terms of scoring, in terms of finishing in the final third, and unfortunately that will cost York 9 this in the fall season here. Again, depth wise, I don't think they're the strongest in terms of depth in the league, and I also think just because of the lack of scoring, they'll be able to drop a lot of points that way. And I think because of that, they'll finish in 6th in the fall season. They have started to turn things around, getting a win and here and there. They've had a better month of June than in May or even April, which is a good thing for them. Things are getting better for them, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to still struggle in the fall season. I think they need to maybe add a little bit more to their attack there in order to score more so they can get more wins. Here's a good little nugget of hope, though, for the York 9 fans out there, is a team, despite being where they were in the spring season and where they might even be in the fall season in terms of my predictions, they're actually really good at not really losing. They're actually right up there with like Forge FC and Cavs in terms of the least amount of losses in the Canadian Premier League, or at least as of this making of this video on June 27th. So I mean, that's a really big almost achievement kind of thing, because if you just gotta wonder if they were able to score a goal or two more in those matches, who knows, they probably would have been in the top 3 in the Canadian Premier League. So I mean, already good for them on being able defensively to lock stuff down, and they get a whole lot of draws, a whole lot of 0-0 draws, but at least they're getting points that way. If they can only score now, I think they could be really real competitors, maybe even for next season, spring or even fall season. But either way, I think York 9 right now, because they don't have that pure offensive ability to score goals, I think they'll finish 6th. So the next place team I think will finish 5th, and that is going to be FC Edmonton. I originally had them actually slated to go last place. I think they'll finish last in the fall season, but then they started scoring goals toward the end of the spring season, and I had to redo it all, and now I think they're going to finish 5th place in the Canadian Premier League fall season. I think they'll still find ways where they'll still be those matches throughout the fall season, because it is a long 18-match fall season where they'll struggle to score goals. I also think the depth, for what I've seen in the spring season, maybe isn't as strong as some of the other clubs ahead of them on this standings prediction here. But I think depth is everything, especially in the fall season here, because it's so long and injuries are going to cost them. And you've seen injuries kind of hurt FC Edmonton through the 10-match spring season, and that's why they finished where they finished in the kind of the mid to low table region there. But I think with FC Edmonton, I think they do finish 5th in the fall season. I think their counterattack needs to be perfect if they are going to finish a bit in the top 3 or 4 of the CPL fall season. But I think scoring wise, they need to continue to be able to score goals. They struggled at that. But again, just like York 9, the nugget of hope for them is that they actually had really good goalkeeping. I thought they had really good defending as well. They're one of the better defensive clubs in the league. I think their midfield needs to kind of be able to transition or continue to help transition to the forwards to get those goals. Other than that, I think because of maybe struggling at scoring at times, will still hurt them in the end game here, and that's why I think they'll finish 5th. So the next place team I think will finish 4th, and that's going to be Valour FC. And I think they had a rough finish to the spring season. I think that would carry over into the fall season. But I think down the line they'll find that consistency in scoring because they got too many good attacking talents not to. That I think that they will be able to move up and finish into a good 4th place finish this year. I do think because of the drop points thing that I think they'll continue to do in the start of the fall season, that unfortunately they will finish in 4th rather than finish in a top 3 spot like I originally thought. But I do think that they do have good depth here, and that's why I think they'll still be able to be a dark horse kind of team that they can compete for the fall title. Again, because of great depth and because you're going to need depth in the fall season since it's so long, it's almost double the pace of the spring season. But overall, I do think because of drop points at the start of the season and kind of coming into the fall season on a bit of a rocky patch in terms of finding that scoring consistency, I think they'll finish in 4th. The team I think will finish in 3rd place will be the HFX Wanderers, and the reason why is because I think the Wanderers are a bit of a sleeper team, and I think they played really good. I mean, go back to the month of June and look how good they played in those games. Whether they win, lose, or draw, they looked fantastic. They had a much better month in June than in the month of May, and they're getting that consistent starting 11, the consistency coming up, and the chemistry together through all those guys. And because of that, they're starting to find some good positive results and getting the points where they need it. And even though they lost Gutierrez, they lost Pura to injury for quite a little bit while now, and they might not even have them at the start of the fall season, they're still able to score goals and still able to get good results. And I think that's incredibly impressive to me. I kind of felt like they maybe didn't have the depth that they could contend, but they looked really good right now. I think Stephen Hart has a really good side there. Langwell looked really good this season so far. Cody Ida looks really good, and I think Akeem Garcia looks really good this season. And of course there's some other great players. There's too many to name because I think the Wanderers looked really good in the spring season, and I think they'll continue that momentum into the start of the fall season. I think they'll be able to steal wins left, right, and center from all these other clubs, and because of that, they'll finish 3rd place in the fall season ranking. Now it's time for my 2nd place finish in the fall season preview here, and who I think will finish 2nd and just miss out on that fall season trophy there, that title, I think will actually be the FC. I think Cavalry FC, who won the spring title, I think they'll just fall short, probably by like a point or two, to be honest with you, to Forge FC for 1st place in the fall season. And the reason being is they already have won the spring title. They already know where they're going to be. They're going to be in the Canadian Premier League Championship Final, the first ever Championship Final. And essentially what they're doing in the fall season now is going to try and win over the fall season so they can have the home field, a home pitch advantage in that championship game. And they're going to want to do that, but I think that they're going to try and rest easy. They're going to play smart because they know they're going to want their best players for that two-legged championship final. And toward the end of the fall season, I think they'll start to rest some of their starters and starting 11 players there. And because of that, they might be able to drop a few points there. And that's why I think Forge FC will just jump ahead of them by a point or two at the end of the day and win the 1st place. But overall, I think Forge FC is looking really good coming into the fall season. And if it's not Forge that wins the fall season, it's going to be the Cavs, because the Cavs look like money. Now the team I think that will finish 1st and win the fall season will be Forge FC, and the reason why I think Forge FC will win is because they just missed out on that spring league title there, and they look pretty much just as good as the Cavs. I think the only thing that separates the two teams right now is a little bit of that killer instinct, and what I mean by that is the Cavs, if you've seen and watched their majority or all of their matches in the spring season, they had that killer instinct where they maybe didn't, in a bunch of their wins, I felt like they didn't really dominate the whole match, but they had the instinct instinct and that killer instinct to kind of find the right opportunities to score. And because of that, they didn't have to dominate the whole match to win. They're just that good that they were able to find those opportunities, to find those openings and to score to win those matches. And they picked up quite a lot of wins based off of that instinct that they have. Meanwhile, Forge FC, yes, they were good and they're dominant, but there was also some games that they didn't really have that instinct, even though they played well and they lost. And I mean, a good you know, game to look at would be, I think, against York 9 in the opening game, and then against Halifax there in early May. So I mean, if they were to win those two matches, you know, they could have been in a conversation for sure to win the Spring League title. So they're so close to the Spring League title, but I think if they can find that killer instinct, which I think they will get, especially if they're playing in the CONCACAF League, I mean, you're going to have it in order to keep advancing through that tournament. So I think overall, I think if they have that killer instinct, they'll be able to win the fall season. Overall, the championship, it's going to be hard to say depending on how the fall season goes. We'll talk about that in a few months' time from now. But overall, for the fall season, I think Forge FC will just edge out Cavs, probably by a point or two, but they'll finish first place this time around. Well guys, that was my video this week. Definitely comment down below. Who do you think? I'm interested in seeing who everyone thinks will win the fall season in the Canadian Premier League. So let me know down in the comment section below. Will it be the Cavs? Will it be Forge FC? Or even Valour or Halifax? Or maybe another team out of the 7? So let me know down in the comment section below. Which one do you think will win the fall season? And of course, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. That thumbs up button shows me you like content just like this. And of course, if you hit that red subscribe button, you can, you know, get updates by hitting that bell notification and get up to date each and every week when I drop a brand new episode just like this one. And you can also watch my content over at northernstarting11.com. I'll have a link for that down in the description below. You're going to want to click that now because there's a bunch of great soccer related podcasts, vidcasts, all by Canadian journalists, for Canadians, by Canadians, covering the beautiful game in Canada, and it's fantastic. So definitely check it out. Support those guys over there. They're great. And until next time guys, thank you for watching.